hours of the regular show on terrestrial radio, and you wanted a little bit more, so that's why you found the Gun Talk After Show podcast, where we saved all the best things that we can't say on regular radio. Now here's Tom, Michelle, and Jim for the Gun Talk After Show.
It's the after show where we get together and kind of knock around what we talked about before and bring up other subjects and have just a whole bunch of fun. We got Jim Kinsey over there. Hello, James.
Greetings, sir. It's been a wonderful show today.
And the lovely Michelle Cleland, who was on the other show. How about that?
Wow, how about that?
Was that fun?
That was fun.
Yeah. We're helping out Caitlin, who going in. You know, it is a thing for women to go into a gun store if they don't really know much about it. Yeah, like she said, I don't want to do anything inappropriate, don't want to look stupid, don't want to embarrass myself, all of that.
Right. You don't want to be ridiculed, but the biggest thing is you don't want to be degraded. And that's the fear that most women have, because it's, I'm going to say, a man's store or a man's world. And even though it's coming over more and more to the female side, I can appreciate where she's coming from. What do I do? How do I act? You can only appreciate that.
Well, yeah, and the reality is, unfortunately, there are some guys who really do want to find some way to have some leverage over a woman. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about here. No, that's not right. Just that whole deal that, as you say, they're demeaning.
Right.
Yeah, and you kind of find that at car dealers and stuff, too. It's not just the gun world.
Oh, yeah.
No, there's an easy mark, yeah.
I always like it when, one of our really good women competitive shooters or somebody like Michelle goes into a store and they start trying to explain little stuff to you. It's kind of like, here you go, little lady, I'll just fix you up. And go, yeah, well, I've been shooting competitively for 35 years. Why don't you just shut the hell up?
Well, and my approach on that, and we've talked about this before, like your stores versus, people coming in. It's not about what I need to sell. It's about what that person needs to own.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
exactly right.
Taking that time and getting that education, shooting on the ranges with these stores that have the pistols for their ability to run out and try is just, it's so important. It's so crucial.
It is. Tell you what, let's take a quick break from this and talk with Quentin, who has been on hold patiently, I might add, from Norman, Oklahoma. Quentin, thank you for holding. What's on your mind?
Tom, I recently just dove into the true pocket pistol market with the Ruger LCP2.
Cool.
And being Tavern 380, I researched the ammunition pretty extensive and settled on a particular product line by a very reputable ammunition manufacturer, but it had somewhat of a different name to the product line. I guess my question to you is how much thought should I put into a product line name if I was involved in a justified self-defense as far as legality goes?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, well, what's the ammo we're talking about?
Black Hills Honey Badger.
Okay, that's the non-expanding bullet. It's a fascinating bullet, by the way. It works really, really well. There are two answers to your question I'm going to throw out. One is that you are, I think, wise to think about this on the front end, because if you had, some ammo that was like the heart shredder ammo or whatever, something that you can get some prosecutor that says, well, why did you choose this ammo? It must have shown that you were going to, you were looking for trouble. On the other hand, I don't see honey badger as an issue unless I'm missing some kind of meaning behind it. That I don't see that as a problem.
Yeah, it's not just self-defense or some regular, I guess, name. And I thought, well, honey badger is not offensive to me. But I thought, well, I just wanted to get your opinion. I mean, you've been in dealing with this issue for a lot longer than I have, so I value your opinion on it. So I was going to say it works flawlessly in the Ruger LCP2 in my experience, and but I am very, very happy with both of them.
Yeah, the LCP is a great little pistol, and the Black Hills Honey Badger ammo is spectacular, and it does feed really well. And I've seen some other tests that they don't publish with this. That bullet is freaking awesome, is what it is. So I would never hesitate to carry that as my self-defense ammo. I think you chose wisely, and also, and Jim is a fan of the LCP as well.
Yeah, I As a matter of fact, a buddy of mine did some testing out here the other day, and he was shooting some polycase ammo. You familiar with that, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Here, that's interesting because the polycase has essentially the same physical design, but the ammo is made of a polymer, whereas the honey badger is made of metal. But it's basically the same concept.
Right. And the beautiful thing about that we found was, which is kind of unintentionally didn't answer your LCP question. The LCP2, by the way, is really cool compared to the one. The ammo we found out has substantially less recoil, and it's still hitting hard because the projectile is so light. And
well, one of the things that happens, you get good penetration, and you also get a good temporary wound cavity, which is what you're looking for. But the reason you get the penetration is that the bullet does not change shape, which means it doesn't get any larger. As a bullet expands and gets larger, it offers more resistance as it's passing through a medium, and so it's going to reduce its penetration. Makes sense, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I like the whole concept behind it. I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't carry and use other, traditional types of ammo, but I just think it's fascinating what's going on here.
I found it was interesting just because, any brand, the Rugers, the Smiths, and I have both, they're a little snappy. Even though 380 is not a super, super powerful round, I got big mitts, and they're a little snappy to hang on to, and I like this ammo because it helped a lot.
It's a lighter projectile, which is going to reduce the recoil.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, the physics all made sense. I'm like, yeah, it sounds good on paper, but I was wrong. It rocked.
That's cool. Hey, Quentin, have you shot your LCP much with the Honey Badger ammo?
Yes, sir, I have. And had zero issues with it.
Now, did you notice that it was a little bit less recoil, or have you shot it with other ammo and then had the comparison done?
Yes, I shot it with others. I ran extensively a substantial amount of ball with it, and then started testing some. There was 2 self-defense ammos I wanted, and that 65 grain Honey Badger felt really good and point of accuracy. It did better than the other brand I was going against with it.
Well, you've done a lot more work on this than a lot of people do.
Well, I traditionally carry Glock 36, but I think I took a challenge from you to. You don't know when the event's going to happen, so when I legally have the right to carry, I want to carry all the time, and I can't carry a 36 all the time. So I thought, I'm going to go this route for those days that it just doesn't work. And it's been, I've listened to you long enough to know what to do right and wrong.
Well, you ended up where all the rest of us have, which is, you've got guns you carry when you can, and then guns you carry when you can't carry those. That's why one is not enough.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is. Well, thank you so much, Tom.
You bet. Thanks for the call. It got us talking about something pretty interesting. Ammo choices, and, this is kind of cool when you think about it, guys. The changes that have come from technology in bullets. Of course, I'm also reminded, it's Clint Smith or somebody said, says the reason we keep trying to come up with new effective handgun bullets is because none of them really work very well because it's coming out of a handgun.
Right.
Well, you're limited in power from the beginning, right?
Sure, a handgun's only to get you to your rifle anyway, isn't it?
Or as somebody said, to get you to the rifle that you should have put down in the first place.
Right. I want to thank Quentin because now he just enabled me to go buy a box of Honey Badger and try it out.
This is basically just an enabling club, is what this is.
No doubt.
What would you like to buy? Yes, I think you should. Now, I'll tell you what I want to buy, and you tell me I should buy that.
Oh, by all means.
I'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We're going to talk a little bit more about what to do when you get to a gun store, and maybe even a little bit of what you shouldn't do. We'll be right back.
You use Slip 2000's full line of gun lubricants, including EWL and EWL 30, because you know your guns deserve the best available. It's time to add Slip 2000's Carbon Killer Gun Cleaner. Carbon Killer dissolves carbon and lead on contact, is non-toxic, and reusable. Carbon Killer works on all weapons, including handguns, rifles, and machine guns, plus silencers and compensators. Slip 2000. We're all about gun care. Learn more at slip2000.com.
attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. shopguntalk.com.
All right, we're back with you here, quoting from My Cousin Vinny during the break. Two Utes. So that is a funny movie, by the way. So, anyway, it has nothing to do with guns. It's just funny. So, I don't know.
Struggling for a segue, but that's okay.
That's right. You know, besides, if I got a segue, I'd fall off that sucker anyway.
Nice.
Although, have you noticed there have been a number of police departments around who are using those things? They scoot around malls on them and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty sweet. You could certainly run one a lot faster than you can run. You know, you can
maybe
zip around. What, until you crash into something, as you're saying?
Or depending on the operator, perhaps.
Or you're saying it can go fast, but I won't be on it anymore.
That might be it. I'll run.
I wonder if they stop and wait for you if you fall off, like a horse. You know?
You need a little tag on it that gives it a little sensor that, she's on.
That's right.
When you fall off, it's GPS return to rider function.
Yeah, that's right. You know, it's like my saying. It says, this is, there they go, and I must hurry because I am their leader.
It's like being bucked off the horse and the horse takes off. That's it.
We had a friend who had a Shetland pony when I was young. That was the meanest little SOB. That thing, there was a tree in the yard that had a limb that was just perfect. And when you got on, that little pony would take off and go right underneath that limb and just sweep you right off of it.
One way to get you off his back.
That's right.
To the bump.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I had to go there.
All right. Gun store stories. People who bring in guns or people who come in and, every gun store worker I know is always doing the dance. Do you ever get, Michelle, to the point where you're just not worried about muzzles anymore?
Oh, I would hope not.
I would hope not too, but
Yeah.
it's like constant all day long, isn't it?
Well, it is, and lots of people call. I mean, in our area, with our store, at least, we've had lots of people that have called in. I want to sell a gun, or somebody passed away, and I have this firearm, and I don't know what to do. How do I bring it in? And that's always one of the things. It's like, make sure it's in a case, or, if you know how to open it, make sure that it's opened when you come into the store. And then immediate possession is what has to be done by the person on the other side of the counter.
Right.
You have to take possession and get the firearm open before it's pointed at anyone.
Well, you got to get it out of their hands.
Right.
So you can check it, so you know what you're working with here.
Yep.
Do you ever get people that come and say, hey, I have zero gun experience and I've got 3 of them in the car, don't want to touch them?
Oh, yeah. And we'll go out and get them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah?
They're wrapped in a blanket or they're in a sock and they found them in the drawer that way. Situations are all over the board.
And good for them. If they're not comfortable, they shouldn't be handling it.
And then we have people
Don't be bad mouthing socks. That makes a perfectly good holster.
It's a gun sock. That's how they came up with that. But, there's some people that are so petrified with guns and are uncertain as to what to do that, if there's a huge quantity of them, we can come to you.
Right.
And sometimes people are far more comfortable. No, I wouldn't say go alone, but you can make arrangements and have that done. And they're far more comfortable because they don't even have to touch them. Because honestly, people don't have an education are intimidated by them, and they should be.
Sure. You don't know anything about guns. You know that they can be dangerous.
Right.
And you're thinking, I just don't know where to start. So they'll call you and you come out probably with a couple of you. If somebody says, look, I've got a dozen guns that my uncle left me. I don't know what to do, and I don't even want to touch them. You go, yeah, okay, we'll come out there. We'll sell them on consignment or whatever.
Right.
Or they say, I really don't like to have guns in my house. I don't like to have them in my car. So if you go out there, you'll find them all duct taped to the top of the car. I wouldn't let them in my car.
Well, that I've never had. But.
Could you just meet us in an alley here, and we'll do the deal there?
Yeah.
I guess you just reassure them that we have the best trained firearms in the world, because our firearms have never assaulted a single person in our store, so it'll be okay.
It's amazing. It's just interesting how that happens. Oh. Well, I am jazzed, guys, because literally, while we're doing the show today, I am getting texts from my hunting buddy. He says he went out to where we're going, and he sent me a picture of a deer. He said he passed on a 3x3 mule deer and a 4x4 mule deer. He says, we got to get out there first thing in the morning. So guess where I'm going to be first thing in the morning?
At the coffee and donut shop?
Yeah, I'll be at Starbucks. Yes, exactly.
Starbucks, right.
You know where to look for me. That's right. I'm such a Starbucks guy.
Oh, yeah, sure.
$4. I'm not doing that one.
I thought he was passing on the 3x3 and 4x4 for something bigger and let you have them.
Yeah, I'll take the little calls that you don't want,
Right.
It's, I do love mule deer. I wasn't kidding. I mean, literally, where I'm sitting right now in Cascade, Idaho, I can just, if I lean forward, I can about see the house where I just saw 4 mule deer. Well, now, there's the deer whisperer here who has deer in his yard. And I finally figured out why there are always deer there when I came by. And he came out, he's standing in his door throwing food out to them.
Sure. I'd come along that way, too.
You're not supposed to do that, people.
Gosh.
But if you do that, they will show up.
Amazing creatures of habit.
Yes, it's especially when you get some snow on the mountains, it pushes them down here. Believe it or not, we've had snow the last 2 days I've been here. Now it's just beautiful and cold. But, I mean, winter comes early to the Northland when you're up in the mountains.
So you have your layers ready.
I have layers. The only question is, are they enough layers for a boy from the bayou?
Maybe not.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't know.
That's interesting in itself, too, because the technology, as it changes for firearms and bullets and ammunition, is changing drastically for clothing as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's crazy, because now it's like I went to a store a couple of days ago looking for a wool shirt, right? Just a regular old Pendleton wool shirt. Nobody has wool shirts.
Right.
Well, we've got the microfiber fleece thingy, and we don't have, there's no more, insulated underwear was $10. But if you call it base layer, it's $100. So, yeah, well, you have to have your base layer, and then you have your intermediate layer, and then you got this layer, and you go, that's like $600 worth of clothes that I'm wearing at any given time. Are you kidding me? No, this is high-tech stuff, right? Okay, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna take my sleeping bag. I'm gonna open it up. I'm going to pull it around me and sit there in a sleeping bag and hope that something walks by.
So
I'm gonna be warm.
I was going to say, make sure you have your scent cover, because you're bound to wear the same outfit every day because it costs so much.
This is true, but you also have your own place when you're everybody's sitting around because nobody's sitting next to you, so it's okay. So, would you mind being downwind, please? Of course, mule deer are a whole different deal. I mean, yeah, they can smell you, but it's not like whitetail where you're going to be like right on top of them. So we'll see. At least that's what I'm holding on to that thought. We'll find out. Next week, I'll be able to tell you if anything worked or if we ended up coming back and having to go to McDonald's for our venison burger.
Venison burger. Yeah.
Well, it's a pretty good McDonald's if that's what they have there.
No kid. I do love venison, man. I love the taste of venison.
Yeah, I saw an Arby's thing this week for a venison sandwich. I'm like, it's got to be BS. It would be cool.
No, they did.
It's legit.
They had I think it's like they ran out of all the venison they could buy in a day.
Really?
What?
Yeah, but this is obviously farm-raised venison.
I was going to say, because you're not supposed to be able to buy hunted meat.
Right, but you can farm-raised. Now, at least I think it's legit, unless, we all got punked on a thing. I don't know.
Hadn't even heard about it.
But if you really want to take venison and then put it together, grind it with beef fat and just a little bit of pork, and then use that for your spaghetti.
Oh, God, I love venison spaghetti.
Oh, man. Venison spaghetti with a little bit of pork in there. It's awesome.
Oh, great. We got a guy on hold from the Venison Lives Matter group. Wants to talk to you now.
And you answer, you go, yes, dear?
Oh.
If there was ever a cue to break.
Oh, my gosh.
You've had enough of that. We'll be back in a minute. If you're like me, you don't have money to burn, but you still want to buy guns, ammo, and accessories. That's why we created Gun Dealio. That's a free, yes, a free smartphone app. Just download it and start getting the deals. Could be discounts, offers of free magazines for your gun, or you could be the first to hear about new stuff from gun makers. Here's how it works. With Gun Dealio on your phone, you get alerts when you enter a gun store. Special deals, you know. You don't have to do a thing. It'll do a lot of other cool things, like let you watch gun videos and listen to Gun Talk podcast. Plus, check it anytime for hundreds of deals and offers. Getting more while spending less. Smart, huh? Gun Dealio. Made in America. Gluten-free. At the App Store and Google Play or gundealio.com. Here we are, the animal lovers of America, and I love them because they are tasty. PETA, people eating tasty animals.
That's right.
You know, it's, I don't know. It's hard. Don't you find hunting to be hard to explain, the actual real feeling, the traction of it? People say, I just don't get it, and go, yeah, I get it. But you're not going to get it. If you don't get it, you don't get it.
That's right.
But there's a thing about being there, being part of. You know what it is I describe? And I want to bounce this off of you and see what you think. Some people say, well, can't you just go out there and enjoy watching it? Yes, I can. But that's not hunting. That's a different experience. I don't mind going out and watching animals. I like going out and photographing them, and that's all fun. But that's a completely different experience than hunting, because that is, for lack of a better term, being a voyeur, as opposed to being a part of the situation where you are now part of nature as opposed to just looking at it. What do you think? Does that work?
Well, I think so. I mean, the animal's skill set is such a thing to pay attention to, scent, the sights that they're used to all the time. It's their backyard. It's their living room. It's everything to them. You're invading their area. They know that you're there if you're not careful. So as the hunter, your skills come in the fact that you're not being noticed. You're not being smelt in any direction.
Smelt.
As a baby little.
I'll be a fish.
Yeah.
That you're not.
You knew we were going to do that, didn't you?
Right. I'll beat you to it. Yes, smelt. The scent isn't going to be picked up anywhere. There's so much that goes into it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the distance that your shots are in. To me, it's an adrenaline thing. And if anybody's never gone hunting, they might not get that. But, you know, when you shoot an animal, and hopefully you're able to actually make a good, clean kill the first time, that animal still runs away from you because it's adrenalized too. Mm-hmm. You know, it's got the adrenaline going through it. It runs away, hopefully dies immediately. And you're going to sit in that tree stand because you're at this point in time shaking like a fool because the adrenaline rush that has just gone through your body, like, okay, because you've just done all your marksmanship that you could possibly do. Mm-hmm. You know, you've taken your breath appropriately. You've been, you know, out there. We go out there and we hunt in the areas before we actually go out there with a rifle and hunt in the areas, right? I mean, we go out there and we scout.
Right.
And people set up trail cam. People have gotten a little extreme, in my opinion, gotten away from what the true hunting part of it is. But that's my opinion. That's okay. We're all allowed to do what we want. But to me, the success is that feeling, that rush, and then obviously finding the animal and taking it home to share with your family.
Well, I was just going to say, then that's the other part of it is taking it home, eating it. To me, that's a big part of being in nature is now, if I didn't bring it home and eat it and share it with the family, that would be missing out on something. And I'll tell you, I also like butchering it. I like not just field dressing. I like to bring it home and cut it up into the steaks and the roast and the whole deal, and just being part of the entire process where meat does not grow in cellophane.
There's a little bit of me, too, that kind of goes back to, if anybody out there is movie buff, with The Last of the Mohicans, their opening shot is an elk scene. right?
Right. Oh, yeah.
They take the shot at the elk and they say a prayer. And not to sound like I'm out there with that, but it is a thankfulness. The Lord supplied us with this meat. Mm-hmm. And if you ever wanted to go rogue and be truly organic. Yes. If you truly wanted to be organic, this is as basic as you can get.
Well, you're right. And, there actually are people, this is kind of interesting, who are taking up hunting as part of their quest to go all organic and to be locavores and to have a closer relationship with where their food comes from. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very honest.
Yeah, see, that's often ganged into, they must be vegans or vegetarians. No. There are a lot of people that eat meat that still want it as natural as possible.
Well, I want to let's spin back for just a second, because you said something, Michelle, that was interesting about basically after you shoot an animal, saying a prayer or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. In Europe, Germany specifically, they do this thing called the last bite. When you shoot a deer or something, and they take a twig and they put it in the mouth of the animal, and it's basically just a way of saying, of showing respect.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I will tell you that on the hunting shows on TV, when they do the whole shoot them and then high five and hoop and holler, I'm not sure that qualifies as a lot of respect for the animal. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
individual. I get it. And I understand it. I understand you did something you wanted to do and all that. I don't know. Just it's a thought.
That's the showboating side of it. For us, we're not concentrating on the fact that we're killing something. Obviously, we go out there with the intention of being able to harvest meat and bring it home. But my family, that is what we live off of. Whether it's deer or mule deer or antelope or whatever it happens to be that we're going out to go hunting for. And we've come back skunked. And we've spent lots of money and we have come back skunked. And that's just the risk that you take. But it's because you enjoy it. It is the basic skills of where we came from.
All right, let me switch. Last week you were off doing something. Were you skirmishing, competing? What were you up to?
Yes, we were at our nationals.
Or at least what's the excuse you gave us? Can you remember even?
It was our skirmishing nationals. They were held last week, and yes.
How'd it go?
Well, I have to tell you, my husband and I belong to the same group. We're both in the same 110th OVI as our company, and in each of our classifications, I have to say we both came back as gold medallion team winners. Whoa. Yay! Yeah, so it was very exciting. Thank you very much. But that's what we were out doing. It was a great time.
Cool.
Well, that is cool. That is really fun. Now, are you guys shooting actual black powder, or are you using black powder substitutes?
Nope, black powder. We never use a substitute.
Awesome.
There's no substitute for black powder.
There's not.
Big old smelly puff of smoke, clean out the guns, the whole deal.
Oh, and let me tell you, the weather was something else because it was hot, which isn't normal for this time of year.
No doubt.
And it was rainy. And anybody who's ever shot a black powder muzzle loader firearm of any sort, I shouldn't even call it a firearm, but we do. Anybody that shot a muzzle loader knows that when you shoot that, it just kind of clings in the air. You can taste it. Sometimes you blast back in your face. Mm-hmm. When it hangs there and you have to dodge underneath to even see if you hit your targets. Because this is all about speed. This is all about speed and what you're doing. And so, you don't have enough time to blow away the smoke to see in front of you. So
you shoot, you duck down to see if you hit.
You have a team of 8 people standing there with you.
So you start up standing, you end up prone.
Right? So each team has, depending on what event you're shooting in, has 8 members, and everybody is speed shooting. So the whole line from, maybe 2 miles depends.
It's just smoke.
Absolutely. So everybody's in the same condition.
I find the term speed shooting with a black powder gun pretty funny.
Let me tell you, it's pretty amazing.
Everything's relative, but when they're good. I mean, how many shots can you guys get off in what period of time?
Well, everybody's a little bit different. Anywhere from 20 to 45 seconds a shot.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, everybody's different. So that's how you're ranked that way. You're followed throughout the year. You have different qualifiers you have to go to.
Can you sandbag?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sandbagger.
No, I meant shoot off sandbags. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Jim, remember, all your competitors, they have guns.
Ooh, but not firearms.
That's right.
We're working as it's a whole team event too. So
Okay.
I mean, the better you do, the better you are for your team.
Sure.
So the worst part is your hits are tracked, your time is tracked, and that puts you into different standings within your team. So the last thing you want to do is pretend you don't know how to do something or lie about how you did, which you can't do because
Right.
it's timed, and then get to the national and be like, oh, I don't know the first thing about what I'm doing. I've lied throughout the time frame. But 2.5 hours comes down to 4 minutes of actual shooting time or 6 minutes of actual shooting time.
Right.
So, but it's incredibly
I'll have to go
fun.
watch that. That'd be cool to watch.
You know what's fun is as you're talking, Michelle, I can hear you smiling.
No.
As you tell the stories, you're back there in your head and you're smiling about the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, it is amazing the amount of historical information. We're in historical military uniform. And actually, some of the people in our team have tracked out like where our company has fought different battles, and by the landmarks, it's like, they came to help and they got overrun, and so they retreated and they met up with this different company and they ran through here, and which is now the Walmart, and behind this line of trees, which is now the Taco Bell, and
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, they
when
had
you got people with muzzle
out.
loaders running through Walmart, man, it is really something.
But when you think
Yeah, you
about
should see how fast the service they get.
when you think about what the terrain was and how wooded and everything else at that time, to me, it's just amazing to think of where we came from with our history, with the culture of firearms. And if you ever wanted to see the amount of firearms that are out there, go to some of these events, because the majority of the people that we compete with are using original firearms. They're not reproduced.
Really?
And, you have from the 18th century. These firearms are from the 18th century, 17th century. And it's amazing.
150 to 200-year-old guns.
Yeah, they're still out there. They're functioning, and they're beautiful.
Yeah. Wow, that would be cool to
That's
see.
fabulous. Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we can see you sometime if we didn't have to work.
Yeah, well, maybe we could take it on the road.
There you go.
Well, that is great. And this hearing you tell the story is really what this is all about. It's just
It is.
You're out there with your family, you're having a ball. It's something you guys do, and when you are telling that story, you have a lilt in your voice. You are having so much fun. I can tell how much you enjoyed it all.
It's great. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share. But yeah, anybody that is passionate about what they do, you find a way to make it happen on the other side, and this is the other side. We're competitive.
There you go.
Yeah, plus,
All righty.
you'd like to be able to tell people, yeah, my husband and I got in a little skirmish the other day.
Yeah, but we're both winners.
That's right. That's right. He had his gun. I had my gun. And when the smoke cleared, we were covered with stuff.
Wow, what a great storyteller. You should take journalism up.
Oh, yeah, I can lie for a living.
But you can photograph the evidence.
To have it. Right.
Oh, gosh. All right, guys, guess where I'm going? I'm going deer hunting.
Oh,
Damn you, Gresham.
good luck.
Well, we'll have a report. We'll even have some pictures we'll put up on Twitter or someplace. We'll have all of that. So we'll let you know what's going on. And if I can stay warm, if I can't, I'll shoot him out of the tent.
All right, there you are.
You know, I wouldn't be the first deer hunter who's done that, I bet.
They make those heat buddies for a reason.
No doubt. All right, have a good week, guys.
Have fun.
Take care.
Well, that wraps up another Gun Talk After Show. But if you want even more gun-related stuff, don't forget to check out Gun Dealio. It's the app for Apple and Android phones that connects you to all the Gun Talk shows, plus even more. And we'll catch you next time for the Gun Talk After Show.